Hi guys, I'm here today to chat to you a little bit about how to interpret your social media analytics. I always go through and have a look at a 12-month period. I love to do this at the end of the year or the beginning of the new year, just to get a really good overview of what's been working well, what hasn't worked so well, and to help put that into action for the following year. So I'm going to chat to you a little bit today about analytics, what they are, what they mean, how you can use them for growth, and to give you a real life example of how I've put this into practice. So what are analytics? So your social media analytics are basically the measurements and insights that you can gather from your social media platforms, which help you to understand how your content's performing and how your audience is behaving, and whether your efforts are meeting your goals. So in simple terms, it's the process of looking at the numbers behind your posts, so the likes, comments, clicks, reach, etc., and turning them into useful information that you can act on. So every platform has their own analytics pages. They all look slightly different on a mobile and a desktop. So I've put a couple of examples on the screen here for you. So Meta Desktop, you can have a look at your Instagram and Facebook insights over here on the left. Your TikTok phone looks a little bit like this, and you can scroll down and see some of your most popular videos. Your Instagram phone looks a little bit like this, and LinkedIn desktop is a little bit different still. So they all look slightly different. One of the things that I use a lot to look at analytics across a range of different accounts for a range of different clients is a social media scheduling tool. So these will house your analytics under one roof. And I've used quite a number of different ones in the past, including Buffer and Hootsuite, but I have been using and swear by Metrical, not only for the analytics side of things, but the planning and scheduling platform I just think is absolutely fantastic. So definitely check that out if you haven't seen it before. The screenshot that you can see on the screen here is from Metrical. Down the left hand side here you can see this is the kind of analytics dashboard here. Each area that's down the left hand side gives you insights into a different channel, but you can also have a look at a summary which puts together all of the different accounts that you have linked up with your Metrical account, and you can have a look at that information to see impressions that you're getting from each different channel. So although Instagram is one of their core channels, actually you can see that Facebook leads to a huge amount of their impressions over the course of the year. So it's really nice to kind of give you that bit of an overview as well as to which channels are actually performing really well for you in the different areas that you want them to. So that's an option for people, but if not, you can have a look at each individual platform and get all of the information from there as well. So having a look at what analytics means, there's lots of different terms and phrases that you'll see across each different platform. So usually the terms will be the same. This is a little bit of an overview of what they mean. So you have your impressions, which is the number of times that your content was displayed on someone's screen. So that's whether or not they've interacted with it. So it's how many views it's got. Your reach is the number of unique people who saw your content. So your impressions are your total views, but your reach is your individual people. Your engagement is the total number of actions that people took on your content. So that's likes, comments, shares, saves, clicks. And that's a real measure of how people are interacting with your content, not just seeing it. Your engagement rate is the percentage of people who engaged with your content out of the total who saw it. So it's often used as a way to gauge how compelling your content really is. And then your followers and audience growth are the people who've subscribed to your channels so that they can find out more, or they're really, really interested in what it is that you have to offer. So just having a look at the engagement section again on here, we have lots of different types of engagement. So there's likes and reactions, which are kind of those quick positive or negative interact. They're quite useful for gauging surface level sentiment. Your clicks, such as link clicks and profile clicks, give you a bit of an idea of the number of times that people have clicked onto your post, onto your bio, on your profile, and they're really key for measuring traffic driven to your websites, sign-ups and sales pages. So that's often the one that I keep a really close eye on. Your saves, so that's usually when somebody bookmarks a post to return to later, often a strong indicator of relevance or usefulness. Your comments are written responses. So these are when people take a little bit more time to show a stronger view towards something that you've posted. It takes more effort and indicates deeper levels of engagement. And then your shares, retweets, and reposts are when somebody distributes your content to their own audience. So this is a strong signal of value and a way to expand your reach organically. So shares are really, really good for getting the word out there, but from your audience themselves sharing your content. So it's almost like free advertising to more of your target audience. So another really, really useful type of engagement there. So when we look at all of these different types of analytics, to kind of get an understanding of what it is that they're working towards, I like to kind of show the marketing funnel alongside this, so you can have a look at what your goals might be. So is it that you want to attract more customers? Do you want to reach more people? Is often something that people say. So if you want to reach more people, that's going to be your reach, your impressions, and your likes. The discovery and consideration phases of the marketing funnel, where people they've been exposed to your content but are maybe moving down funnel towards a conversion. They might click through to your page views. They might click through to your page. They might also leave a comment asking a question and want a little bit more information about what it is that you've posted about. And then to convert, if you're wanting to convert people, you would be looking at things like your profile views, DMs, your link clicks, and your follows. So it really depends what that conversion is. So it could be that actually you're trying to drive people through to your website to make a sale. It could be that you're trying to get somebody to buy something from your online shop. It could be that you're trying to get more signups to your email newsletter list, or that you have a free download which requires people to leave a comment or send you a DM. So depending on what it is that you classed as your conversion, the metrics will change slightly, but it tends to be those kind of profile views, the DMs, the link clicks, and the follows, those kind of deeper, more meaningful interactions that you're looking for. And then when we move down to the bottom end of the funnel, this is kind of retaining and building those relationships with people, re-engaging your existing customers or your existing followers. So in this kind of area of the funnel, you are looking for things like engagement, so likes, reviews. They might have recently bought something from you or signed up to something that you've offered and left you a really nice review. May have left a comment on a post that you have shared to say what a great time they had at your cafe, restaurant, or using the service that you offered. So that kind of gives you a little bit of an overview there of, you know, depending on what it is that your goal is. So whether you're trying to attract lots of new people, whether you're trying to convert the audience that you have, or whether you're trying to retain your existing customers, these are the kind of metrics that you will be looking out for with your analytics to see what is working at driving that particular action. So in order to move to that next step, you need to really identify what your goals are. So if your goal, for example, is to reach more customers or to increase bookings, those metrics might look slightly different as to what it is that you're trying to do. So we're going to go through a little bit of a real life example now. So if you're wanting to reach more customers, you would look at an overview for your social media channels for your last 12 months. Identify which channel has gained you the most reach and impression. And if you can split that down by existing followers and new followers, that would be great, because then you can look at the activities that are actually driving more new people to your pages. So you can have a look for any spikes in your reach and impressions and identify what has caused that spike. So was it a particular piece of content that you shared? Were you running a competition? Was it a collaboration with an influencer? And you can have a look at what's caused those spikes in the metrics that you're wanting to analyze. And essentially, you're trying to identify what has worked and replicate it, and then basically repeat the process. So have a look back through your analytics once you've tried it for a couple of months. Did it work? How can you tweak things to improve your results? And the process is pretty similar for if you're wanting to increase your bookings. It's just the metrics that change that you're looking out for. So I would have a look again, an overview of your social media channels for the last 12 months, identify which channel gained you the most profile views and link clicks, then pinpoint the spikes in these and identify what caused the spikes so that you can replicate that and try it again. So as a real life example, I work with a client who own a cafe. They wanted to increase their footfall and sales at the cafe. And so the goal was for us was to attract and convert new customers. And so I needed to plan content which really hits that top part of the marketing funnel. So I looked back at the content that had previously performed well on their channels and identified that video content and storytelling content were the top two content types. I also then looked at top performing content from competitors and industry leaders to identify other opportunities for growth. And from this research, we decided to introduce TikTok to run alongside their existing Facebook and Instagram channels to instantly help them reach a new audience. I then planned content for the first 3 months, focusing on exposure, discovery, consideration, and conversion. The first part of the content plan really focused on that exposure and discovery part of the funnel, because that's what we were trying to do initially, was to reach as many people as possible and then convert them to actually come to the cafe. So to give you a bit of an idea of the different types of content that would fit into the different areas of the funnel, here are some things that I see that work quite well, and also the different analytics that you might want to look at for that particular area of the marketing funnel. So for example, for your exposure, you might look at jumping on trends that are already out there to help kind of build momentum, sharing helpful hints and tips, more kind of educational and entertainment content, which is really kind of the brand building type stuff. That also really feeds well into the customer relationship and re-engaging existing customers with brand building content and helpful hints and tips. The next phase is the discovery phase. So this, as you might expect for kind of discovery and consideration, it's really kind of drilling down into the more interesting and informative pieces of content. So we might show a little bit of a journey. So how to find us from the bus station, a day in the life of, so some of the kind of behind the scenes and sneak peeks. We might also answer some FAQs. So if somebody found our content, but they're wanting to discover a little bit more, you can use your FAQ as content, whether that's a graphic or a video, to share those answers with other people as well who might be asking the same questions. Also, a really good content example for the consideration part of the phase is looking at things like your before and after transformations. User generated content is really, really good. Your client testimonials. And then for conversion, things like, how to find us, provided when you're open. It's really, really basic, but the amount of times you go onto somewhere and can't tell what their opening hours are or they're out of date. So that's it's a simple but really effective part of the funnel to consider. And making sure that your accounts are linked up with your website and your other channels so that people can go and find out more information before they visit you or inquire with you. Then we'll look at customer relationship side of it. So this is things like, the history of your brand, employee spotlights, if you do any charity support or things in your community, if you've got any events and things like that going on. And if you're wanting to re-engage new customers, promoting those new products or services that you have and sharing things up to make them feel like part of the community that you've created online. And you can look at how they relate to each of the different analytics metrics down the right-hand side here. So now we skip forward 3 months with this particular client that I was working with. And here's a little bit of an overview of how I would kind of analyze their content after that first couple of month period. So this is on Meta on the left-hand side here. So go down to the content side of Meta Business, and you can sort by reach and views. So on here, there's little kind of arrows at the top here. So you can sort it by date, you can sort it by reach, by shares, by link clicks. And you can have a look at which posts it is that have performed particularly well in terms of reach. And so I did that on each of the different channels. So we've got Meta over here and TikTok over the side here. And you can see that on here, it looks slightly different just because TikTok is predominantly videos. So there it says analytics and video. You can select your date range as the last sort of 60 days, 28 days, or a custom date range. And then you can sort them by most viewed, most interacted, and so on. So after I've done that, I also wanted to go on to have a look at their website analytics to help paint a fuller picture. So this is something that not all social media managers will do, but it's definitely something that you can do if your goal is to drive more traffic to your website. It's usually a good indicator of whether people are not only engaging with your content on social media, but they're actually then moving that forwards and taking an action. So in that kind of 3-month period, we'd actually seen a huge drive to our website from Facebook. It was a huge increase. So we looked at the same period that we had for social media, and we could actually look and see that Facebook was driving, a huge percentage more than what it had in the current period. So it had gone from 150 people coming to the website through Facebook up to 1,049. But actually, for this business, there wasn't any other marketing tactics that we were doing. It was all on social media. But because of the success that we'd seen with that, we'd actually seen a huge increase in people coming to our website from Google and directly. So it's really interesting that not only, those link clicks and things that you see on the social media channels give you one part of the picture, but for those people who have seen something on Instagram and then Googled your business, or been sent something by a friend and then gone directly to your website, this kind of gives a fuller picture of the impact of the marketing that you've been doing. Now, obviously, if you have newsletters, non-digital marketing tactics and other things going on, then they will all contribute to these things as well. But for this particular business, there wasn't anything else that we'd really changed other than consistent posting on social media. So it really helps you to kind of paint that picture of the impact of what you've been doing. And you can imagine, really, for a small cafe to go from having this many views on their website in a month to this many views, and that kind of resulting in much higher sales, was really impressive. So we learned that Facebook was clearly their core channel for driving traffic to the website. So for the next batch of content, I looked at focusing more on the consideration and conversion part of the funnel, and had a look at which types of content were performing particularly well to reach and engage more people on our core platform. So for the next 6 months, I looked at the best performing posts on their core channel, which was Facebook. I tried to replicate this to keep momentum up, but then focus more heavily on the consideration and conversion types of content to drive more website traffic. We were getting a lot of comments asking the same questions. So, can we book a table? Can we bring a dog? Do you cater for multiple dietary requirements? And actually, we use these questions and answers to put them into the content plan. And I asked the client to update their website with some of their frequently asked questions as well to help with those conversions. And over the next 6-month period, our reach actually decreased, but our page visits and link clicks increased. So they were the things that we were trying to increase more. So we were focusing on those different parts of the funnel. So the first 3 months, we'd really focused on building more reach and views and interactions and getting the momentum up. And actually, after that period, what we wanted to do was encourage more people to the cafe, to visit the cafe. And you can see here that actually the metrics kind of align with what it was that we were trying to do, which is great. The visits from Google and Direct held steady, which feels great considering that there was a bit of a drop in impressions. But the traffic from Facebook increased again, a huge amount. And we saw a steady increase in traffic from Instagram and TikTok as well. So combining your social media analytics with your website analytics really helps to build that bigger picture and to make sure that you're working towards your business goal. So a couple of the reports to look out for: if you're on Google Analytics, you can look at the traffic acquisition report, which will show you the different channels which are driving traffic to your website. And if you're on Wix or Shopify, it's called a top traffic sources, and it will show you the different sources that are driving traffic to your website. So I hope that's been really helpful. Do keep in touch. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and LinkedIn at Martha Wood Marketing.